Welcome to Penton Hook Marina, where we have got an opportunity to look round one of the most special historic boats I think I've ever seen. This is my new best friend, Phil Christodolou, and he is going to talk us through the boat and above all show you the extraordinary quality of workmanship of the restoration that's gone in to make it not just a beautiful boat, but also a usable one. So, Phil, tell me a little bit about the boat. What is she?
So, Quizana is a Thornycroft built in 1927 at Hampton, just down here on the River Thames, and she fortuitously became one of the Dunkirk little ships. So in 1940 she was requisitioned and taken over to Dunkirk to rescue our British Expeditionary Forces off the beaches. And in that, she then became famous because there's a photograph of her with the actual soldiers on board.
Now, how long have you owned her for?
So I've now owned her for just over 2.5 years, of which has been the time that it's taken to restore her to the state she's in now. She's not been in the water for, we think, about 14 years, and she was not in any way, shape or form possible to put on the water. She was just a bare hull, still needing complete replanking and then a complete rebuild of all the superstructure and the interiors.
And who has done the work then?
So this has been done by a gentleman called Malcolm Jones, and who led the restoration for his yard, which is C&M Traditional Boat Builders.
Let's go and take a closer look. I can't wait. It just looks so beautiful. So let's start with the outside a little bit. What have we got here? I mean, this just absolutely glowing in the afternoon sunshine.
So she is larch planked, but above that you have mahogany with a very deep coat, varnish on board and traditional teak decks.
And when you found her, did she have this superstructure and everything?
She had a superstructure, but being that she's 1927, she's probably been rebuilt a number of times through her lifespan. She's coming up to 100 years old. And so she had a wheelhouse that was probably put on in the 50s or 60s. And all her decks were ply and so on, and had been replaced over a period of time, but were not in a fit state.
Good stuff. Then let's go and have a look on board. We can't pass that without seeing it. That is obviously her most famous hour with the retreat from Dunkirk. But wait until you see what goes on board. Wow, she looks absolutely immaculate. So what's the idea here? And show me around some of the beautiful features on this cockpit.
So, as we said before, she's all been done in mahogany with teak decks and teak decks inside. And then Malcolm and myself have created a new cockpit area, of which in that we needed to create a helm seat. And so we found a 1920s theatre seat, which Malcolm rebuilt by making it wider because they were never that size. But it fits perfectly with the idea of how a helm seat should work. So you've got flip up back, so you can stand at your helm as well.
Let's have a look at the helm itself then. Talk me through the...
So she's twin engined. She's got beta 38s. We tried to make her as simple as possible and traditional as possible. So she was traditional looking, but really wanted to make her usable. And so she has just the basic gauges, and then we've added in, of course, and hidden away, Malcolm very cleverly, all of the new tricks and so on with all of the latest.
Now, what about these throttles?
Gadgets.
Throttle.
So Malcolm was very keen to make sure we only had a couple of different types of wood on board, of which she's mahogany and teak, but that he made one exception for me, which was to allow me to have Greek olive balls for my controllers.
You hesitated to say that, but they're
yes, I did.
Absolutely beautiful. Look at that. And now what's going on down here? Because that doesn't look...
So then again, we wanted the switching board and switching panel to be traditional. So we've got organ stop.
That's like out of a Rolls Royce or something.
switches built in. But what we've then done again is hidden.
Look at that. So those are kind of secondary gauges and
Yeah. So you've got it all on the system of your active captain. But and so I can read it on my phone if I could work it. But you've also got the secondary gauges and so on. And what we tried to do is then hide everything away.
So what's behind all these panels and so on?
So here you've got, so she has all custom made tanks throughout her. She's got 6 tanks on board, 2 fuel tanks for each engine, carrying about 200 litres of fuel. Even down to, Malcolm wanted to hide away our fire extinguishers so that they weren't on show, to keep her as traditional looking as possible.
And the colour scheme?
And the colour scheme, so I wanted to go sort of very gentleman's club and be really sort of reverent to her history and her time. And so we went with a dark St James's red.
Very regal sounding.
Yes, and the 2 is a fabric cushion out the back here, but then leather on the helm chair. And then you have a little thing to make the colour pop, which is the cushion material is a silk which we've had made, which matches the Dunkirk Veterans Medal.
So that is the ribbon for the Dunkirk Veterans Medal.
Yep.
Where did you find that silk?
So we had this silk made.
So you had the silk made specifically
to match the thing as a little tribute to the Dunkirk veterans, of which Quizana is a Dunkirk veteran. Fantastic. So that was her.
Let's have a look down below then. I can't resist.
Okay.
There's a few interesting things as we go down here.
So as you come through, we've managed to squirrel away a drinks fridge.
Very neat.
In our little drinks preparation area. And then to make her, this is all about making her usable. And then we managed to squirrel away our magnetic glasses.
Genius. They sound like proper crystal.
Yeah.
Now, where are the engines then? How on earth do you get
So you've got twin 38s and they're hidden away under these panels here.
Oh my goodness. Beautiful. And did I see a fuse board somewhere in here?
Yeah, and then behind the fridge here actually is all of the backbone and electronics linking all the navigation and all the systems on the boat and all of the fuse panel and so on.
And your little VHF and everything.
Yeah.
My goodness. And all of these decks lift up?
All of the decks lift up to gain access. So in this case, it's the batteries and another fire extinguisher.
And you've got a full set of house batteries and inverters, so you're completely off grid when you need to be?
Absolutely. So she'll run completely, everything you see will run, and then you have access to all the important points on the engine and so on.
Fantastic. Come on, let's look down below. I can't wait any longer.
Okay. So, come in.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
What a fabulous saloon. I see where the whole gentleman's club influence comes in here.
So, red St James's leather, all done beautifully by the guys at Steve at the trim shop.
Here
at Penton Hook, yep. And these again become, very cleverly become, so they have these armrests to make them look like a proper chair rather than a bench.
Absolutely.
Bench seat, and then of course these fold up, and so you've got 2 full bunks, single bunks, so for your crew, and these a 6'2" guy can quite easily sleep on here, as my friend Bob did.
Fantastic.
And then
whilst we're here, I know you have a thing about not wanting any curtains or blinds or...
Absolutely. So it's a gentleman's club, so you don't have frilly curtains in a gentleman's club. So we decided, how were we going to, in the many, many Saturday mornings that myself and Malcolm deliberated over what we were going to do. So what we did was we had these little panels made.
Gorgeous.
And again, trimmed in leather, in red leather.
So every one of these portholes
and all the portholes have a little panel made for them to keep the sun out when you're sleeping in here.
Now, I'm told somewhere on here there's a galley, but I'm not seeing it at the moment.
So we wanted to keep it traditional, so we wanted to hide, so no plugs. You won't find any plug sockets in sight. So we hid those underneath and future-proofed them.
Very good.
With USBs. And then this is our galley area here. So again,
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, another
fridge.
Full fridge. On the top here, we didn't want too many handles or bits, so we did the lovely leather tabs. Induction hob.
Oh my God, it's absolutely state of the art.
And Malcolm managed to squeeze away a cutlery drawer under the induction hob. Bin chute, so there's no fiddling with your tea bag on a teaspoon, waiting for it dripping over the floor while you're trying to get the bin out.
Yeah, that would be rude.
Then Malcolm wanted all the wood to match, so he even made the tambour door.
Cool, and then what's hiding under there?
And hiding behind the beautiful tambour door is a double air fryer.
Absolutely brilliant. So you can still have chips on board.
So you can still have your chips.
Chips and a mug of tea.
Absolutely, you can still.
It's a genuine proper boat, so long as you can make chips, bacon sarnie and a cup of tea.
Absolutely. Well, we can do all of that because there's a coffee machine down the bottom as well, and a kettle, and because of the fact that it's all on inverter and so on. And no galley is complete without a sink. So we even put a sink in here. I didn't want a tap on show all the time, so we had a nice fold down tap put in.
Too good. Now there's rumours of a heads compartment somewhere.
Absolutely. You need a head if you're going to live on board and stay on board. And
Whoa.
There we are.
That's a throne room, that's not a head.
So she has a full shower. The whole floor is the shower tray. And even down to my little office. My office had designed a little flush tab for the electric
Brilliant.
toilet
with little finger
a
pointing.
suitable 1920s finger.
Genius. So good. Look at that beautiful curved door as well.
Yeah, and that was again Malcolm, just an amazing job. Wanted the whole thing to flow so that the space flowed round. So the idea was to bring this beautiful curved door in.
Too good. Now, where do you sleep then?
So I sleep the other side of my dining table, which again, Malcolm created so that we have a full dining table in here, but we'll also go out onto the back deck. And then behind here, you have...
Oh, that's just pure theatre.
a master. Oh, one of the cushions has fallen over. Oh my God.
It's an outrage.
It is an outrage. So we have a forward double berth, of which again we created little cubby holes either side, not only to hide the electric sockets, but so you can throw your stuff in and it doesn't slide around all over the place. And then on each side there is a full height wardrobe.
Brilliant.
Little reading light. Again, same fillers for all of the portholes, and even a little safe for your documents and your valuables in the bottom of the wardrobes.
She is absolutely immaculate. Now,
Thank you.
can I ask a rude question? What did you pay for her when you first bought her?
So I originally paid altogether with a bit of storage £5,000.
But she didn't look quite like this.
She didn't look quite like this, and it was more about just making a gesture really to the previous owner's estate.
Yeah. And dare I ask how much you spent on it?
So I think we're somewhere in the region probably of about 250,000.
Wow. But then a fairly ordinary modern boat can cost that sort of money.
Quite easily. And this is all hand-built, finest materials, and she's worth every penny.
And from what I understand, the hull and everything is built
Absolutely in a
exactly as it should
traditional
be.
manner. So she is what they call a copper clench, I believe it's called, which is a rivet, and takes two people to put it on, one on the outside, one on the inside. So she's built in a truly traditional manner, and all the workmanship around her is to try and make it as traditional as possible. Some modern materials, of course.
Why did you go this route, but rather than buying a ready-made new boat or everything?
For me, I'd toyed with wooden boats before, but never been able to sort of justify the expense on myself. And so what I decided to do in this instance was that my excuse to myself to do it was that I was doing the history. And that is a really important part to me. We have saved another boat, which is now, we now no longer have any of the Dunkirk veterans, well, still associated to us at the Association of Dunkirk Little Ships, and the boats are the veterans, so we're keeping a piece of history alive. So it was a complete no-brainer that she was worth doing and worth looking after.
Maybe you can tell me what your plans are for her now that she's complete and ready and a thing of beauty.
She's taken her place now alongside the other boats of the Association of Dunkirk Little Ships, of which they are every shape and size you can imagine of small boats. And she will now, this next year, 2025, is the 85th anniversary of Dunkirk. And so next year there'll be a flotilla of some 60 Dunkirk Little Ships leaving from Ramsgate, going across to Dunkirk, along with various civic receptions and so on to go along with it. And then on the end May bank holiday weekend, on the Monday, we should all return in flotilla into Ramsgate.
Wow. Well, on behalf of Motorboat and Yachting and probably the wider nation, thank you very much for showing us this boat. Thank you very much for restoring it. We need people like you. It is such a wonderful part of the history, and it relies on people like you to save them for the nation. So thank you.
Thank you.